Hi everyone, welcome and thank you for joining us today. My name is Jean, the Digital Event Coordinator at Connecting Up and TechSoup New Zealand. Today I'm very excited to welcome you to join How to Effectively Collaborate Remotely in Microsoft Teams with Julia. So Julia is the Senior Consultant focusing on tech foundations and business intelligence within the Digital Transformation Program. She has previously worked in the enterprise space as a cloud architect, working with telcos, big banks, and utility providers. She enjoys seeing her clients effectively leverage technology so that can concentrate what's important. Before we begin, we'll start with a bit of housekeeping. We really encourage you to ask as many questions as possible. Please note that your questions will not be appear to the entire group, and we will get them answered at the end of the webinar. And this webinar is being recorded. The link with the presentation deck will be sent to you in 1 to 2 business days. And finally, I would like to remind you there's a survey at the end of the webinar. Please help us to complete the survey in order to have a much even better experience in the future. All right, now I'll pass on to Julia for today's section. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jean. And welcome everyone. I can see we've got a large group here, a lot of interest in the Microsoft Teams environment or application, I should say. No surprise there. It is a tool that is now being used by over 75 million users as of April, so surpassing the Zoom conferencing. Again, no surprise, as you know, under the 365 suite, Microsoft Teams is becoming that sort of collaboration tool for organizations everywhere. So before I kick off, and I just want to say my email is on this slide deck here. So just so you know, at the end of this, we will be sending out this slide deck. So you guys can have this to take away. But before I begin, I most importantly would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land and their connection to the sea, land, and the community. I'm currently presenting from the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and I'd like to extend that respect to where you are joining us from. Just respect the elders past, present, and just acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded and always will and always was Aboriginal land. So learning objectives today. So we do have a short, sweet one, 30 minutes. Most of it will be within Teams, so in our demo center, and showing you sort of a use case of, we've got a new volunteer joining us. We're a nature non-for-profit, and we're going to take you through how we can collaborate and onboard our new volunteer and make sure she is set up nicely and having that effective collaboration communication. So first, when I go into the Teams demo, I will be showing you sort of the default. So when you do set up a Teams or your IT support set up that Teams, you've got some default channels, some default tabs. So we'll slowly take you through that. Second, we're going to then show you again, like I said, onboard a volunteer. So get her to join the team, announce the team that she's arrived, get people to say hello, make her feel included, because when we think about effective collaboration, it doesn't mean more meetings. It's really woven into our daily fabric of work. So talking about what really matters, and our people matter, our teammates matter. So having an online space where, you know, now I'm assuming a lot of you have gone back into the office, but the last 2 years we've had to work remotely, and you know, we've got to keep that sort of ongoing, not just communication, but the teamwork and encouragement like we would see in the office or in the corridors or on our coffee dates. So really showing how we can have a bit of fun in these environments, and show you how this central repository has a lot of functionality and features for you to really be able to do that. So we'll show you that. Then we'll show you how to collaborate on a file together. So you may already seen already, but you can have real-time seamless collaboration on the same document. And within that, I'll kind of briefly go over the version control. So if you are working on it both together and something has happened, because it's online, this document, they do save each edit. So you won't ever lose anything unless you're working offline. And then we'll go to how we communicate the updates together. Let's say, for example, me and the volunteer are working in an event together. We finally finished the presentation deck. How do we communicate that with others and stay informed with the conversation? Again, just going back to that remote, bringing the face-to-face to the remote platforms and still having a bit of fun. And hopefully, if we have time, I'm going to show you how to search for a file, show you how to use Planner. So Planner is where you sort of assign tasks to your individuals, up to your teammates to ensure you're all tracking nicely. You can also conduct a poll, build a survey, all within Microsoft Teams. And there is much, much, much more functionality. But today we just wanted to show you these sort of basics here. Know that next year we're going to be continuing these lunch and learns and do our best to answer all your questions today. So please keep popping in the chat the questions we have for you. And I'm just going to double check. Amazing. So we'll kick off now and go straight into the demo. For the demo purposes, I am going to just turn off my camera so I have the best bandwidth possible and you guys can hear me all clearly. Alrighty, so we are in, and just so you know, we'll leave hopefully just about 5 minutes for questions, and I would love to leave more, but half an hour is short. So 5 minutes at the end to answer questions, but also do a little poll to see where we want to go next. So hopefully everyone can see the Teams screen. And please unmute yourself with Jean or anyone if you can't. And if not, if I don't hear from you, I'll continue talking. So this is, you probably know and familiar with this interface. This is the hub and the soul of Microsoft Teams. So on the left here, this one here is where collaboration really, really happens. Coming over to this white bar here, this is where your teams will be located. So you can be a part of multiple teams, and you can see each team has a channel. So I was talking about default before. We'll come here to the volunteers teams. So here you'll see you get a general channel, a general channel. This is the default. So I have heard of non-for-profits asking, why do we need it? Should we leave it here? And I always say yes, because it's a good area channel where you can come and general you could do announcements, hellos. It's for everyone within that team. So we usually recommend, when you are breaking down channels, it's per sort of topics. And so when you do that, or when your IT support sets it up, you just collaborate with them of how your team maneuvers each other and how you kind of want that set up. But so the default here is the general. Within your general channel, you get default posts. So this is where you come and have conversations. You can mention people, mention a team really easily. So instead of having to add everyone from that team, or add all the volunteers, I should say, you go at volunteers, and every one of them who is a part of this channel will get a notification, and the notifications come up here in this activity tab. So that will ping or show a red flag, and we will show you with this when I'm onboarding our volunteer. So the second default is the files. So this is where you come, you store your folders, just like your typical file explorer, your file structure, you come here and create your content, your resources to ensure that everyone can keep up to date. And another default tab, which is the wiki. I personally, and the organizations that I've worked for, have never really used wiki. We normally use OneNote. So OneNote is that typical note-taking. You can have the sort of version control in there as well. It is that sort of communication add-on tool. So if we didn't want that here, which I don't, I am going to delete that. So all we do is right click. You can sometimes get an arrow as well, but right now I'm having to, oh no. So going into the wiki, we right click and we just remove that there. Permanently remove. And I don't think you'll be doing a lot of this stuff because your IT support should have this all set up. But just showing you a way of how you can, if you are the sort of director of that team, go about that. So next things next, we have Anne joining us. She's a new volunteer and we want her to get her set up in this team. So what I'm going to do is head over to the Teams tab over here, click on those dots and add a member. I'm going to type away and oh, there she is. Add. And what will happen is Anne will get a notification and an email saying you've been invited to this team. So, but what I want to do is I actually want to make her feel a little bit welcome. So I'm going to the post tab, I'm coming down here to start a conversation and tell the whole volunteer team, please join me in welcoming Anne. So I'm going to @ the volunteer team because I want everyone in the team to get this message. Volunteers, please join me in welcoming, and I will tag Anne so she will get the notification because she's in the channel with the volunteers, but I'll tag her as well just to make it a bit more, so obvious that we're talking to her. So there we are. Just to give you a little insight of other cool, I guess, I was going to say analysis, but just fun ways of communicating. You're probably familiar with emojis. You can click on that, and if you wanted to find a laughing one, you can actually type that in, and they've got great choices here. I know Anne likes cats, so I might even pop that one in there. You might have just seen on the right-hand side here, we got a notification. So Anne has actually gone in and loved our posts. So that's just a way of collaborating, right? You're getting a little ping, she's loved your post, so that's a nice little, she is happy or loved that she's being welcomed. Oh, and look at that, she sent a little gift as well. So gifts here, they're a bit different to emojis. So it's the next one next to the smiling face, but they're just more of a infographic, moving infographic. So she's done a really cool virtual hug over here. So we can go in, we can like, love, laughed, be surprised, be sad, or be angry. I don't think we're any of those. We're definitely a love. So we can love that right back. And it's just a nice way to introduce her, and then hopefully the other team members will reply and welcome her as well. So thank you, Anne, or welcome, I should say, Anne. So I just wanted to point out, there is other ways. So if you know that you are setting up a team, but there's an option of inviting someone, or you want to leave it up to them to decide if they want to join your team, what you can do is actually go back to the team you want to share, is right click on the dots and get the link for the team. Also, this should be your best practices. So when you're working on files, you should try and get the link so then you can always know that is the file you're working on, rather than, and this again, this is the great thing about Teams, it's taking away all the emails back and forth, and you're attaching your file document here and it just gets lost. With Teams, you've always got the history and you're linking it to that one document that you're working on. So it really, really gives that single source of truth capability. So going back to sharing this team, I'm going to click get a link to the team. I can copy that and then I can head over to chat, or you can head over to email, whatever suits you best. And we can type in who we're looking for. I want to send this to Anne again, and I Control V, or you can right click paste and say, hey Anne, I've got a new team, would you like to join? Although she's already a part of this one, it just allows you to, if you don't want to have that forced invite, then you can just send them a link and they can decide if they want to be a part of that team or not. Alrighty, so now we want to work on a file together. We've got Anne's joined. She is needing to help us out with an event that we're running. So let's go into our events channel this is where we go to collaborate and communicate on events and store our files. Even when if hopefully get time, show you the task list. So people assigning maybe marketing content to Anne, or get her to follow up on catering. So going into events, what I want to do is head over to the files folder, and I actually want to share with her the nature picnic folder file where we have been working on, because within there I want to work with her on a PowerPoint presentation. So going into the folder, this is the presentation I want her and I to work on. So first of all, she should have access now. She's in this this channel. So, but I'll double check. So copy this link. So again, going to the three dots, we want to copy the link, and then we can either go into the posts, back to the same, we're in the same channel, we're in the events channel, go back to the post to go at Anne, hey, need you to help work on this document for the picnic event. Thank God we can have picnics now. We're out of lockdown here in Melbourne. And see, it just gives that nice little, she can actually just click on this button here and should be able to open. And I'm going to show you how we can open. There's three ways of doing it. You can open it in Teams, you can open it in the PowerPoint app, which is the most native and one we recommend, or you can open it up in the web browser as well. I should say this is the Teams app I'm working in is the client app, so it's not the web browser. So Anne, I've asked her to open and start working together. So I'm going to show you what it looks like when I'm working on this deck with her. So coming to open in, I'm not going to open it in Teams or the browser, I'm going to open it into the desktop app. So here we are. Oh, and I can see Anne's here. Amazing. So she'll come up here at the very top. It even tells me what slide she is. So, and I can see here that she's actually highlighted this box. So it's just, oh, I realized that it is pausing my screen, isn't it? Okay, looks like it's not paused anymore. So hopefully you can see the PowerPoint presentation that Anne and I are both in. So going back up the top here, I can see Anne's working on it. She's on slide 2. She's gone down to slide 3. I can follow her tracks here. You can even see when she updates. So it's just that real cool, like, for me personally, when I see someone else in the document, I'm like, oh, we're working on it together. We're a team. So it's just a nice way, again, to have that, collaboration. So let's go back into our teams. Thank you, Anne, for working on that document. It looks like it's all finished. So now we can go back into Teams, and we want to now let the whole team know that the document's ready. It's ready for everyone to review. We want to make sure that everyone is happy with it before we present it at our picnic event. So I'm just going back into the conversations tab because I just want to alert everyone. So at sign, mentioning the whole team. So the team's called volunteers, and going, hey, the presentation deck is all finished thanks to Anne. And again, I'm going to link it so I can actually come up here where I've already linked it, copy link again. Or if that wasn't there, sorry, go back to files, find the document and copy the link again. Copy, coming back to your post and right click or Control V if you need that Windows shortcut. Awesome, so we're ready to go. We send, and everyone should get a notification here at the activity. So they can open it from there. That's the single source of truth document. And yeah, just a great way to all have that shared deck and all be updated on the finishing touches. So I'm so glad we're at this part now, because then I can show you the tasks in Planner. So Planner is an app that you can add on. So I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but Teams being a virtual collaboration space, you can actually integrate other applications like Zoom. You can integrate on there, YouTube. There's a ton of native plugins that Microsoft Teams does as well, but I'm showing you the two today because I see them being the most common and the most useful. So that's again the Planner, which up the top here, its default name is Tasks, and the Forms, which forms equals polls or surveys, and they're just really cool ways to you know, if you want to poll someone about what's their favorite coffee or where do they want to eat for lunch if you're in the office, or, you know, there's lots of ways you can sort of use that. So I'm just going to show you because I've already added it up the top here. But how I did that was I actually go to the plus, and remember we're in the events channel. So this is for volunteers doing events. So I'm going to click the plus button here and see how I was talking about before with all these different add-ons. You know, you can add your website. If that's something you and your team frequently access, then you can add it there for just that seamless shortcut. Or there's a PDF that you guys always look at in the event, so maybe that's a running sheet and you need to refer to that all the time, then you can pop it as a tab and it will be there permanently. Something that I always do is the OneNote. I like having my OneNote in there just to write notes all the time. Again, amazing. So, I just got an email that Anne's left a comment in our event brief presentation. So that's just a really, you know, additional sort of updates and alerts, notifications to keep us in that shared collaboration. And apologies, I'm not sure if my screen is paused again. Hopefully it's good to go. Let me know if there is any issues with that. And please keep asking questions in the chat. We'd love to hear and answer them. I know we're going to have 5 minutes, so I will just briefly, I know I showed you how you can add it on, so you just honestly click here, but because I've got it added, we'll go over to the taskbar, and it's just like a Kanban or a project planner, whatever fancy name you want to use, and you can create your own project list, so like columns. You can add a new bucket, name it completed, and have that there. And then what you do is create tasks. So it's simple, just add the task name. Let's go test. You can do a set due date, maybe tomorrow. And I'm going to assign Anne. So maybe I'll assign Anne saying, just finalize or just review the final draft of the PowerPoint deck. And so she can tick that when she's done. When I've assigned her, she will get a notification on that one as well. So you can come in, you can label it different colors. I don't know, I like the color plum, that's pretty nice. And it just gives you that sort of visualization. I know I'm very much a color person, so when I come in, all my tasks are plum, so I can just easily identify them. Great, and then I'll just quickly, briefly show you what a form could look like if you're doing poll or survey, depending how quick it loads. Keep asking your questions in the chat. This one might need a little, because I probably maybe 5 minutes before just added this one quickly, so it might need a bit of time. I believe I've got one in the executive team, so I can quickly show you that. That should be loaded already. So there's a survey in there, and it's what's your favorite cuisine? So you can go in, type that away, and you can see the responses. So they've got some cool little analytics here, how long it took to complete. There's actually analytics for your Teams channel as well, but we won't go into that because I want to answer your questions. So that is just a sort of 101 how we collaborate in Microsoft Teams. So I won't show the screen yet. I'm going to answer your questions first. So pausing my screen share. And Jean, if you could run us through any questions that have been on the chat.
Thank you very much, Julia. And then we got a couple of questions. Let's get started. First, we got one from Joanne. So are the documents accessed through Teams saved on SharePoint as well?
Correct. And this sometimes can be of, let's just say, I get confused with SharePoint, OneDrive, and Teams all the time. So Teams is, it's your central interface, but the backend will always be SharePoint. However, because the way you're structured in Teams, it will be the same structure in SharePoint. I hope that answers it. And OneDrive, I always say OneDrive is for your personal, your dirty drafts that no one wants to see. And your Teams is where I talk about that single source of truth. So you go back to and post the file you want to be shared there. But yes, it will be in the back end of SharePoint.
Lovely. Thank you, Julia. So we got another question from Joe and Cherry. I'll combine the question. They are quite similar. So can you add someone who is not in your organization, or can you tag someone who is not in the same group? So tag, add, yeah.
Yeah, so when I talk about groups, it's the teams. You can add external guests. That's most definitely. Except if they're not in your team, so not in your group, then no, you cannot tag them. I hope that answers the question.
No worries. Thank you. So thank you, Joe and Cherry. We got a question from Jasper. So do you have any advice for getting people to start using Teams? So who are used to use like back and forth emails, because some people are quite reluctant to make changes. So what's your advice?
Completely understand. I'm going to put my hand up and say I was one of those people. I just was so reluctant to. And it's like anything. It's like with change. It takes time. So maybe like a recommendation would just add a file in there and maybe send them a chat and link the file and say, hey, can you work on this in here? Or even just start off with what I did at the start is announcing them to that channel, making them feel like they're a part of something. Maybe put in a fun little gift in there, maybe put a cool emoji or share a video with them, something like that, just to allow them to go into that space and then start maneuvering around it. But it's a tough gig, that one, to get people into that environment. So yeah, good luck, and hopefully more of these will be a bit more beneficial. And I've also, just so you know, on the Digital Transformation Hub, we've just put a guide up around Microsoft Teams everyday use. So it gives a lot of best practices. It shows people how to use emojis. It kind of gives them a documentation of just tips and tricks in a way. So that's on there too. So go check it out.
Thanks, Julia. That's a really good tips. What I can do, and I can also send the link together in the follow-up emails so that everyone can have a little try with the suggestions.
I should say, Jean, it is in the slide deck as well under the resources slide. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. And we got a couple more. How do you stop documents being updated once the final version is agreed?
Yeah, so in terms of it being the final version, I would say save it. Maybe you want to have a folder that is like the final folder. That could be a way of doing it if you want no one to touch it. Don't be too worried, because if you do have, you finalized it and someone comes and edit it, you can actually roll back to that previous versions. I could briefly show that now. It's just in, I need to show my screen. I will quickly just show. So within this documentation, you can go File, go down to, not Options, it's Account. Oh, no, it is Options. Sorry, I should have. Proofing. Okay. Oh, no. What I can do is do a little step-by-step and add that to the resource guide as well. But I've gone mental blank of where that version control is. It's as simple as a couple steps. So I will refine that where you locate that. But yes, so you can either set up a folder that says final draft, don't touch or something, or again, using that announcement button to say the final draft's here, please don't edit this document. If you want, copy and edit your own, etc. Hopefully that helps. And again, I will find how you find the version control too.
No worries, thank you. And we got two more. So one from Alice. Does Teams get installed as an add-on to SharePoint? Do we need to install SharePoint separately?
So there's two kind of ways you look at it. So you can have a web in the web browser. So you don't have to install anything. You just open SharePoint or open Teams. Note they're two separate apps. Well, I say apps, but two different systems. So you can have that set up in your browser. Otherwise, if you've got installing it on your PC as a client, then you have Teams and SharePoint separate. So yes, you do, but it does depend how your setup is.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. So it looks like we got one last question from Joanne. So it's a similar question, but we can address that as well. Are we able to share documents this way with external people?
External documentation would be via email, unless it's whoever has access to that team will have access to the documentation. So the best way to share access, or you can do, you can share your SharePoint link and give that person access just to that document as well. So not like in terms of hierarchical access, you can just give access to a document, if that makes sense. So yeah, there's the document side and then there's the team side. It's just what access you're able to give them. And you can also give, if you have settings on a document saying share this link, whoever with this link can open it, then that is a setting that you've, and it should be just in the share settings under when you go file share in whether PDF or PowerPoint. Yeah, I hope that helps.
Lovely. Thank you very much. All right, so it's a really interactive sections. We love questions, and thank you everyone who have participated. Before we finish, do you have any things to add, Julia?
No, that's everything. Thank you so much. And again, my email is just on the slide deck if you want to reach out. We'll be doing more of these next year. If you do have any additional questions, you can also book us at the expert bar in the hub too. So 30-minute consultation, and we can see where we can support you there. So yeah, thank you so much for listening in, and I'm sure we'll speak again.
Yes, sure. Do you want me to share the poll before we finished?
Oh, that would be great, actually. Yes, I know we've lost a few attendees, but yes, please share the poll. This is just to get a feel of what you'd like to see next.
Yes.
So the meeting features, yeah, Microsoft Team features, so what you can do in Teams, how you can make effective Teams meeting, or how to collaborate better on files within Teams, how to communicate. I think there's 3 and 4, I believe. Number 4 should be.
Number 4 is the communication, and number 5 is the others.
And what was number 3? I think there was a different.
Yeah, so I'll just repeat the answers. The question is, what training on MS Teams would you like to see next? First one is meeting features. Second is the file collaborations. Third one is the communication. And the fifth one is the others.
Amazing.
All right, so I'll just close it and share the results. So we see that most of us are interested in file collaboration, that's 55%, and the meeting features come next with 40%.
Great,
So
yeah,
these are the two main things that everyone is interested.
Great, thank you. Yeah, not surprised there. There's a lot around the files that we find, especially when OneDrive, SharePoint, Teams are all involved. It gets a bit, people seem to lose things. Yeah, so I completely understand. So we'll make sure we have that all up and running. I think number 4 was just meant default apps, so that's things like Planner and Forms, but that's all good. Thank you, Jean, for sharing that.
All right, so before we finish, I guess all of you are seeing my screen now. So we got a really lovely events coming up on this Wednesday. So it's Mastering LinkedIn series. So as you can see, we are having our special discount for all of you since you're already engaged with us. So there's a $50 off by using the discount code. I'll be sending this in the same email as well. So this Mastering LinkedIn series is not only like developing your profile, it's like how to improve your profile, grow your network, how to do it with your business in order to make your organization grow, and also some advice on advertising budget, etc. All right, so if you're interested, feel free to join us. And the other news is about on the 2nd of December, we have something similar topic as well. If you are interested in Teams, we have a cloud solution on the 2nd of December. I'll send this as well. Like Julia just mentioned, we are going to have a lot more next year, so stay tuned with us. All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Julia, again. We'll see you very soon.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
see ya. Bye.
Bye.